Welcome, everybody, to the City of Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight is January 26, 2009. This is a public hearing. There are 3 orders of business on tonight. The first one is a request for continuance. The second one is a petition for a variance, and the third one is another request for continuance. So I'll call the first one first. That's ZB 2008-48. That's a request for a variance by RTJ Realty LLC. Excuse me, the property address is 301 Chelmsford Street, located in a regional retail district, and this is a petition to raise an existing structure and construct a new commercial building within 15 feet of the USF residential zoning district according to sections 4.5.4 and 5.1 of the zoning code. In this petition, there are no applicants here tonight because the building department and myself, through the building department, received a request from Attorney Victor Forsley asking if we can continue this matter from today's date until May 27th, 2009. I'll read the letter into the record. Dear sir, please be advised that this office represents the above noted John Carews. This is a request to continue the above matter from January 26, 2009 until May 27th, 2009, as I discussed with your staff. We will contact the abutter who appeared at the previous meeting and apprise him of the date and change. Thank you for your courtesy. And I believe they did contact the abutter who appeared here at the last meeting out of a courtesy to him, and he is not here, so obviously he got that message. So the request is that we continue this matter until May 27th, 2009. And my recollection of this petition is the applicant seemed to be a little bit unprepared as to what needed to be done, and it looked, from at least my perspective, a lot needed to be done. And I think that various members of the board had some other input on it. So I'll open that up for discussion as to the request to continue until May 27th. Does anybody have any comments on this before we take a vote? Bill? Jack? No, sir. Vesna? No, sir. Corey?
No, Mr. Chairman.
And?
All set, Mr. Chairman.
Kevin? All set? Okay, so I need a motion to continue.
Mr. Chairman, with that being said, I'll make a motion to continue to May 27th, 2009.
Seconded.
Okay, Stephanie, can we have a roll call, please, on this?
Continue to May 27th.
Continue?
Continue until May 27, 2009?
Continued to May 27, 2009.
Continue. Continue.
Okay, this matter has been unanimously continued until May 27, 2009. Anybody wishing to address the board in regard to this matter, you do have to appear on May 27, 2009 here in this building at 6:30 p.m. There'll be no further notice. Any questions, you can call the building department. Thank you very much. Okay, the next order of business we have is a continuance. I'm going to take them out of order. I'll take the third one. This is another continuance. The applicant is the City of Lowell Department of Planning and Development, 251 Mount Vernon Street. There's a request from, there was a email request from Adam Becky asking that this board continue this matter until February 9th, until they can take some more time to figure out exactly what's going on with it. I'm really not sure what this petition is about, and it's been before the board many times, so I have no problem with the continuance, and maybe we can get some more information and maybe finalize this on the 9th. I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments on this or has any idea where it may be heading, but Bill, anything? Jack?
No, sir.
Vesna?
No comment.
Corey?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a small statement that the board did grant the special permit and variance back in December 2003, but the city never exercised it to make it artists. I believe it's going to be a warehouse and studio for musicians, which I think is a good concept, but for some reason or another, it never got underway, and I would like to see it at some point come to fruition, so I will be more than patient on this one. Thank you very much.
I agree. I think 6 years, we need to, get a hold of what's going on with it, and I agree with you. Kevin?
No comments.
And Rick?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Need a motion to continue this matter ZB 2009-00001, I'm sorry, 2006-0047, until February 9th, 2009.
Mr. Chairman, with that being said, I'll make a motion to continue to February 9th, 2009.
I second it.
Second by Vezanoon. Roll call, please.
Continue.
Continue?
Continue.
Continue.
Continue. Continue.
This matter's been unanimously continued to February 9th, which is our next regularly scheduled meeting. There'll be no further notice. Anybody wishing to address the board, and any applicant may appear that night, and there'll be no further notice. Thank you very much. Final and only applicant tonight is a petition for a variance, that's ZB 2009-01, and that is 43 Arlene Road. It's located in a traditional single-family district, and the petitioner is requesting to construct an addition to a single-family home with insufficient side yard setback in accordance with Article 5, Section 5.1 of the zoning code. Would a representative of 43 Arlene Road please address the board? Ma'am, please state your name and address for the record. You can pull the microphone down so you can, and you actually have to sign in. There's a sign-in sheet on there.
Hi, my name is Olivia, and I live on 43 Arlene Road. I'm here today because my parents want to expand the side of the house, and we wanted to get your permission.
Okay, what is your last name, Olivia?
Botanik.
Okay. And are you speaking for your parents tonight?
Yes.
Okay. And what would you like to tell us about your petition, what you'd like to do?
We just want to expand the side of the house to make the basement bigger and the upstairs living room bigger.
So you're requesting a variance for relief for the side yard because you don't have enough side yard on the right of the house if you're facing it?
Yes.
Okay, and it looks like from the plot plan we have, you're looking to put an addition on that's roughly 12 feet by 27 feet, something like that?
Yes.
And what's going to be in there?
The living room.
There'll be a basement underneath
Yes.
and a living room?
And my room in the bottom.
Okay. All right, now, do you have any, other than the plot plan, do you have any other plans of what this is going to look like? Any sketches? Because normally, when somebody comes before the board, you have the plot plan that tells us where the exact relief is that you're looking for. In other words, there's a sketch that tells us that this is where the house exists now, this is the proposed addition, and it will actually outline the little gap of the relief you're looking for so we can see what your request is visually. And now, what the board usually likes to see is a sketch of what your proposed addition is going to look like when it's finished, or a rough sketch attached to the house.
We don't have. Wait, did Mom do that already?
No,
You didn't draw the picture of how
yeah,
it's gonna
the
be
guy
like
already.
after.
Yeah, I think the guy say after we say okay, and the guy come to see again.
So Mommy doesn't have the picture of how it's gonna look like.
Not yet. Because we have to.
Have you decided on a builder yet? Have you talked to a builder, somebody who's going to do the work?
Yes.
Yeah, she already did.
And who is that?
What is name the guy? I forgot his name. I think you have heard.
Well, his name doesn't matter. Did he give you an idea of what he was, did he give you a sketch of what he was going to do?
Yeah, he said could do 7 feet. I think a little bit, or living room a little bit bigger, and that's it.
Right, what we usually look for is that sketch, and a lot of times it protects you as well, because we know what you're putting there, so,
I thought he already drew it.
you know,
Yeah, he already did make the new one.
And you gave it to them?
Yeah,
He did make a sketch.
oh, he did?
Yeah, he did.
make the new one. It is
Okay, does anybody have a sketch of this in their package? No, we do have a plot plan. That's the surveyor, that's Mr. Aho, that's the surveyor.
okay.
That basically just shows us where, you know,
When be done.
where your outline, where the footprint of your property is, and where, if it's approved, and if you build it, where it will be when you build it, so we can physically see that it is on your land, and that it doesn't encroach outside of your land, and we can see what the relief visually, we can see what your relief you're looking for. The next step, what we usually look for, is a picture of the house, what it's gonna look like when it's done. And a lot of times they can do just a sketch, or now you can do it on a computer, on a CAD design or something where we can get an idea. They can superimpose your house with the addition on, and you can show the board, so we know what we're approving.
When we come here talk, they say only the way they need, so that's why only,
Yeah. Did you fill out the application, or did your builder?
no, your application, I think.
Mommy filled it or the guy filled it?
Which one?
The paper.
Yeah, I think I came here, the lady helped.
No, I know you come here, but did you come here and fill it out, or did the guy who's gonna build your house?
We the one come here.
She filled it.
I-
Okay,
One of the ladies here helped her filled it out.
okay, yeah, right.
And we already talked to the neighbors and stuff, and they said it was fine.
Obviously, there's no opposition here, and I don't think it's gonna be a big problem with the board at all. But usually what we do is we look for the end picture, the kind of final picture, so we know what
When done.
what it's gonna be there. And it looks like the only relief that you're seeking here is 4.4 feet. You know, so it's, you know, it's a very minor request as far as I'm concerned, but, well, okay, so it's a 12 by, roughly a 12 by 27 addition to your house. Is it gonna match the roof line, do you know? Can you tell us a little bit about?
Is it gonna match? Is it the same height?
The same height, yeah, everything same height, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No.
Okay. Well, we may have some questions, the other board members, so, Bill?
One question, Mr. Chairman. There's a fence on the side of the house where you plan on building. Do you own the fence, or does your neighbor?
Who owns the fence?
The friend, I don't know when they bought the house, they did just like that, nobody say anything.
Nobody said anything about the fence, so we don't know.
No, there's a chain link, looks like a chain link fence that's already there between your property and your next door neighbors
Yes.
to the right as you face the house. I was just curious, does that belong to your family, or does it belong to the neighbor?
She doesn't know.
Yeah,
The fence. Is it yours or theirs? The neighbor's?
which one, they did,
The one next to where mommy's gonna fix the house.
or the friend,
Yeah.
oh, okay. ของเขา
Oh, it's
ตัวนั้น
theirs.
แต่อันนั้น
It's theirs.
บัดเขาเว้านำเขาแล้วเขาโอเคเขาว่าบ่ได้เป็นหยัง
Yeah. But she already talked to them about it.
Yeah, but the fence belongs to your neighbor, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
The friend เนี่ยเฮาเนี่ยเขาเนี่ยนำ
Jack, anything?
เอาดีๆเจ้าฮู้เจ้าก็บ่มาเว้าอันนั้นแฟนเป็นของเฮาเนี่ยของเขาได้นำกัน
I don't think so, Mr. Chairman. I guess what would be pertinent to the vote would be whether or not the board feels as though it's necessary to have the additional rendering. If that's not the case, I would be prepared tonight to vote. But if the board feels as though we need the rendering, perhaps we need to ask for a continuance to give the petitioner time to obtain the rendering, as much for, as you stated, her own protection as it is to expedite it for her.
ซอยลูกๆมีห้องเจ้าก็บ่เว้ากัน
Nobody told me.
You sure address?
Excuse me,
This one.
excuse me, ma'am? Are you here for this petition?
Yeah.
Well, right now, we're just in the middle of the public hearing, so we'll call anybody who wants to address the board, whether to support it or oppose it in a moment. Thank you. Okay, Fez?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Given the facts that, they're probably not familiar with, the process and all that, and that the affirmative answers to your question pertain to whether or not the roof will be higher than the actual, the existing house. The indications that will not be altered, the roof will be the same level. The one thing that Mr. Chairman's concerned, which is correctly so, that if we have pictures, certainly would help us, and even more so protecting the petitioners. I am those comfortable, Mr. Chairman, to vote tonight with conditions that any pictures and whatnot, or that the petitioner work with the commissioners and to try to meet any issues, concerns that the commissioner might have on this petitioner. And prior to the meeting, I also did talk to them a little bit, because they don't know the process, so I explained to them how to go about presenting their cases. They also indicated to me that the addition, basically, because of the kid in the families and the young lady who spoke, explaining the purpose, why, also indicated that she will have her room down in the basement. In fact, she is a college student in UMass Lowell, I believe, that the other member of the family is also grown up, so they do need their own room, and that lead to this expansion or addition.
Okay.
I am prepared to support it with condition, as I indicated, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and we have done that in the past. I think what we prefer not to do it that way, but I would be willing to support it so long as, obviously it complied with all the building department's requirements to get the permit to do it. So obviously that you would have to have something to the building department anyway, but we could put a condition on that prior to any construction, that it's submitted to this board at possibly our next meeting, and then we can vote to approve it based on what we see, rather than require, you to come back and do all that. You wouldn't normally have to come back if the board agreed to do that. You could just submit it and it would be part of our package, or we could get it sometime before then. Again, it seems like a minor request. I don't know if there is any opposition or anybody in favor of it, but we'll just wait and see for that, I guess so. Corey?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. I did visit the residence this afternoon. It is a nice, quiet street. I haven't been down there in some time, and it's a well-maintained home. And I do want to help the petitioner. As you stated earlier, it is a rather minor request, but it's difficult to approve something that you can't look at. And I do want to see what your finished product is going to look like. I think I like the fact that, you're a nice young family and you want to stay in the city, and you need to expand your home to do that. And I'm certainly here to help you. But I would like to see the rendition, what it's going to look like prior to construction. Mr. Chairman, if that's the way we can go about it, rather than continue it, that's certainly an avenue I would pursue. But I also have another concern. Your backyard has a considerable slope, so I'm worried about drainage, water drainage. So do we have any correspondence, Mr. Chairman, at all from?
We do have, I'll read it into the record. We do have one comment from the engineer, Lisa DeMayo, just that the scale on the plan is wrong. It's 1 to 30 inches, but it's turned out to be 1 to 20. Not sure what significance that is, because I'm not an engineer, but maybe somebody else can help us with that. But it's the Massachusetts stormwater regulations require no additional runoff. Therefore, all stormwater runoff from this addition must be retained on the property. No runoff is allowed to the abutting property or the street, which I think is pretty standard. So I think that would be a condition that we put on, that any of the runoff created by the addition stays on your property, and that would be something you'd have to agree to do, and your builder would make sure that that happened. And maybe somebody else has a little bit more information on that on the board. But Kevin, anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was also at the property. It's a nice neighborhood, very well maintained, and look to see the right kind of expansion. I would, in looking at the other houses, I didn't notice anyone else that had kind of extended near the property line, and I'm just wondering if you've considered going to the rear of the house instead of the side, just so that you wouldn't, at first you wouldn't need a variance from this board, and that you wouldn't have the concern perhaps of neighbors encroaching on the side.
Did mommy ever want to do the back instead of the side?
Mark side.
She likes the side better, that's why.
Okay. Well, something I guess I would ask you to consider, I would like to see a plan of, a picture of what it would look like to make a more informed decision. I think
Okay.
the other parts, other information that would be helpful for me to make a decision would be to understand any changes to the driveway and parking, if you were planning to make changes there as well. And also, there's a shed in the backyard, and at least according to the plot plan that you've provided, it looks like the shed is not entirely on your lot, so that would be something, again, when you come before the board like that, we would like to make sure that you're in conformance and with other
Okay.
items on your lot. So,
Okay.
again, something to think about. And there's plenty of room so you could potentially move it very easily. But again, I would just ask you to think about that. And I think the runoff and drainage is important to consider. But,
Okay.
I'm here to support you. I think the last comment I would make is one thing that's helpful is to talk to your neighbors. It sounds like you've done that. Some people will actually create a little petition and ask their neighbors if they can't come to the meeting to sign it and say, I live at.
Yeah, we had them sign the paper.
Oh, okay, so it would be helpful to bring that to the board so that we see that,
Did you already
you have
you signed
support.
the thing, right?
Yeah, the one next. Yeah, this side.
Where did you sign it?
I think.
When did you buy the house?
I think 12 year. 96, I think, yeah. 12 years.
No,
Sorry, was the shed on the property when you bought?
no. No,
Okay, so you put the,
When we bought and we
no, the shed.
the same year, the same เขาซื้อแล้วเขาเฮ็ดโลกบอกเราไปสิ
No, it wasn't on the property.
so you
When we
put the
bought it.
shed on?
Yes.
เขาซื้อแล้วเขาเฮ็ดให้เขาเฮ็ดให้
Right. And like Mr. Kavanaugh said, it appears as though there's a slight encroachment with your shed onto the neighbor's property. That may or may not be a result of the scale being off. I'm not sure. Do you think that would have any impact? No. Probably not. So it looks like you have a slight encroachment. So when you put the shed on, you put, whoever did it, whether you did it yourself, you put it a little bit too close to the line. In fact, it crossed over. So if you were to sell or refinance your property or anything like that, they would probably require you to move that, just so you know. And now it's before the board, and we see that encroachment. So it's for your own good to move that over a few feet. It looks like it needs to be. And that creates a further concern that if that was wrong, we don't want this to be wrong, especially since if there's a problem with the scale. So, we need some assurance that it's going to be done right. And it's also, a level of protection for yourselves when you do it, because once, it's easy to move a shed because it's a structure that's easily movable, but it's not really easy to move an addition once you put it on. If it's further than you asked for, and now you're in violation of whatever variance you may or may not be granted here. So, I think that's something you really need to make sure that's done properly. In other words, make sure your scale's right, make sure whoever the builder is, if this passes, that your foundation's there right to the inch, because it has to be. Anything over that is a violation of whatever variance you might be granted. So there's things like that you need to know to protect yourself, and I'm only saying it because it appears as though you're new to this process, and you haven't gone through this before. And then I see that the shed's a little bit over, so did you put the shed on yourself, or did you hire somebody to do it?
Yeah, a friend of mine.
Okay, did he check the lot line? Like, or do you generally have an idea of where it is, and you just said somewhere over there? Because if you're not sure exactly where your line is, it's always better to put it closer to your property than against it. Just for your information. That's not really the issue here tonight, but it was brought up, and it's a good point, that there is an encroachment there, so you might want to address that whenever you do this property.
Mr. Chairman, that's why I was asking about the fence.
Yeah,
Who owns the fence? Now, if there's a fence, I think that fence ran from the front all the way to the back.
No, you
And
gotta
if it
say
does,
You always said it's in.
Yeah.
If they're encroaching a little bit, you know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
their shed would be on the other side of the fence anyway, so if there was some encroachment, don't you have to be, Bob, a few feet off the property line to put a fence up?
No, actually, the fence could go right on the property line.
it becomes the property line, right? Isn't it?
It can, yes.
Yeah,
So if it is the property line and it runs all the way to the back, there's no way the shed can be on top of the fence,
Correct.
if you know what I'm saying.
right.
So-
Is the shed on the inside of the fence entirely? It has to be, right? Because there's not a gap in the fence. So is the shed right against the fence?
No. No, there's room for it.
They have room.
This doesn't look correct when I look at the shed. The shed looks like it's more heading towards like where their deck is in the existing home. At least that was the way I looked at it. That's why I noticed the fence. I was just curious if they own the fence.
It sounds to me like we're questioning the accuracy of this plot plan.
Yeah, I
Starting
mean,
with the scale, and then, are you saying that the fence actually goes to the back right-hand corner? Well, then you're probably correct, because this may be showing the lot line, it may be showing the shed, but it's not showing the fence. Yeah, fair question. Yeah.
right, and, you know, the shed started out not to be really the issue here, but it might be something that helps you, because if your plot plan's off, the plot plan is submitted for zoning for the purpose of the variance, so you might want to check with Mr. Aho, who submits several plot plans to this board. So you might want to check with him and tell him that you were before the board, and you want to ask him about the shed, and ask him about the scale,
Okay.
all right? Because it may be off, and ask him to just check this to make sure that it's accurate.
Okay.
So I think with all of that, I mean, maybe it's better for the applicants to continue this until the next meeting. Just definitely better to help you out. Would hate to, you know, have you start something, and then it just, if you start it and it goes the other way, it's just gonna cost you more money. Bob?
This may be a blessing, too. This may be an opportunity to correct a deficiency here while she's applying for this. This may be a good opportunity to correct that. So while she owns the property, and then when she sells it, she won't have a problem. I think the
Right.
best thing would be to get a hold of the surveyor and have him come in and explain to him, well, I can explain to him what the board's concerns are.
Okay, so if Mr. Camacho could talk to the surveyor, Mr. Aho, and I guess we could continue this until the next meeting, and we're going to listen to anybody that has anything to say. But if the board votes to continue to the next meeting, then we're going to have a clearer plot plan here, and in the meantime, it might give you an opportunity to get us just a sketch or computer version, or the building department will tell you exactly what we're looking for, but something basically to rely on to see what it's going to look like.
Okay.
We don't necessarily need to see a detailed, you know, architectural design, but it's usually good to have something like that if you're doing an addition of this size. But, Rick, did you have anything to say?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. One of my questions is obviously trying to put it out in the back so we wouldn't have to deal with the variance problem, and also the shed. But as to the scale, I think Mr. Aho just put 1 and 30. It's actually 1 and 20. It does work out 1 and 20, all the dimensions. I think the fence was just put out there and nobody knew where the lot line was, so they erred on the side of caution and just ran the fence. And that allowed the shed to go further over because they thought it was their lot line, being that, you know, most people put it on the
Right, but I think,
lot line.
I guess what confuses me, and maybe I heard it wrong, but I thought the shed appeared to be much further, closer to the deck.
It appeared to be. That's why. I don't, and again, Mr. Aho's probably not shooting that with an instrument, Mr. Chairman. He probably just, they took a tape, they looked at it, they said it's out there. You know, it might be on her property if he really goes out there and shoots it.
Right, and then that might be what he needs to do, you know,
Yeah.
what we need him to do.
Spend a little bit more time out there.
Yeah, because it's gonna only help you out, because right now, you may have an encroachment on your property, right? I mean, the fence
Correct.
may be on your property. And that's a problem, especially since it's significant because the addition is on that side of your plot. So we want to make sure that we know what the variance here, what we're approving, and exactly how far it is. But if what Rick is saying is true, and I could see his engineer's ruler there, so it probably is true, it's the one, so the scale is right. So what may be off is the line here, and it may have to be reshot to determine that. And I think Commissioner Camacho indicated he could talk to Mr. Aho about that. Okay. And I think it makes sense for you folks to come back on the 9th, which is just a couple of weeks. Gives you a chance to give us an artist's rendition of what the addition's going to look like. And it gives you a chance to check with Mr. Aho and possibly your builder as to exactly what's going on here. And I heard a couple of members say it, you might want to, consider this, based on the topography of your land, does it make more sense to put it in the back? I know you want it on the right side, and you have every right to come in and ask for the variance, and I think it's relatively minor request, but, you might just want to talk to your builder about that and see what works best for you, but I'm sure you've probably already considered that. Just a suggestion. Okay, any other comments before I open up the public?
Just one last comment, Mr. Chairman, if I may. The kind of legal guidance that the board has for granting a variance is based on the shape, soil, or topography of the land. So having a desire to put an addition on the side is important, but you should, when you present your case to us, there may be a reason why it's difficult construction-wise to do something in the back, and maybe the side makes sense. So please consider that when you come back to the board.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Okay, anybody here wishing to speak in favor of this petition that already hasn't spoken in favor? Okay, hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anybody here wishing to speak in opposition of this petition? In opposition? And hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Ma'am, is there anything you'd like to say? I know you...
Well, I'm wondering why I'm here. It seems like this is affecting Arlene Road.
Ma'am, I don't mean to...
Arlene Road.
Right, I don't mean to interrupt you. Could you step up to the podium? That's just... There's a process here that we have to follow. And please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Doris Lovejoy, and I own the property at 19 Lawton Street,
Okay.
which is above Arlene Road.
And you received the green card?
I received this
Right.
notice to be
What
here.
happens is, there's, as a requirement through 40, the statute, Mass General Laws 40A, everybody, any petitioner or applicant's required to notify abutters, and abutters are defined by a circumference or an area around anybody related to this house, so they draw a circle around it, and anybody within that circle has to be notified, and you just happen to fall into that. You don't have to be here, you weren't ordered to be here. It's just that if you had any reason why you might want to speak in favor or against this petition, you'd have every right to address this board and tell us your concerns.
Well, the only concern I would have would be if they changed their driveway to go out the back of their property, which would then affect the street behind them.
Right, and I think...
And that wouldn't happen.
I think at least one member brought that question up. We wanted to know where the driveway would be, and I guess I could ask the petitioners right now. Could somebody step up again, please? Where is your driveway right now?
It's on the left.
Is that going to change?
No, it's gonna
So
stay
the
the same.
driveway won't be affected at all?
No.
Okay. All right, ma'am, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No.
Okay, thank you for coming. All right, is there anything else the petitioners would like to say?
No.
Okay, do you understand our comments tonight?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I think the most sensible thing to do is consider a continuance. Anybody like to offer a motion to continue this to the next meeting?
I'll make a motion to continue the matter to February 9th, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion by Vezanoon, seconded by Jack. Did you second that? Yes, sir. By Jack Knox, so we need a roll call. Stephanie, please.
Continue to February 9th.
Continue?
Continue.
Continue to February 9th?
Continue?
I have to come back.
Continue.
Okay, folks, this matter's been continued until February 9th. You're not required to notify anybody else. We're not gonna notify you of anything. But just so you're clear, what we expect that night is to have some artist rendition of what the end result's going to be, to look into possibly why you can't do it in the back, and maybe there's a good reason why you can't, which actually supports the reason why you're looking for the side, as well as talking to Mr. Aho. So any confusion that you have, or any questions you may have tomorrow or when you're going through this, please discuss it with your builder and have your builder or you call Mr. Camacho or a representative from his office, and that's normally the way it's done, and they'll be able to walk you through it. But don't wait on it till the last minute, because you won't be ready for the 9th, and we don't usually keep granting repetitive continuances. Okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, there is no other business for this evening.
Okay, did anybody get the minutes? I think were the minutes sent to us by email?
Okay, well, in that case, I haven't seen it, I have not reviewed them yet, so we'll have to...
Okay. All right, so why don't we put the minutes off until the next meeting? Maybe we could put it
Correct.
on the agenda, accepting the minutes for the last several meetings on that agenda. And is there any further business? Any other comments by anybody? Okay. How about a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Yeah. What was that?
No, not to kids. That's why we got the kids. What do you mean?
Sounds like they want to prove it, if they need some more information, I can tell you exactly what it is.